Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Husker Doc Talk Podcast. I'm Travis Justice. Good to have you here. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button, would you please? Give the video a like and go ahead and leave your comments in the comments section because we like to hear what you have to say. Also, if you wear shoes, if you're a normal human being and wear shoes, wear your G-Defy shoes because G-Defy makes your feet feel good, doesn't it, Dr. Rob?
I just got another pair just arrived.
Did you really?
Can I get in on this? Is there a way that I can get in on this shoe situation?
Maybe. And that voice you hear, by the way, is Bill Busch, who's our first guest in the new studio.
There we go.
Owen looked at me today and goes, "You didn't tell me we were ready for a third." And I said, "Well, Bill's special."
We're always ready for Coach
Not special,
Busch.
but I will say this. I've been here numerous times, and the upgrades look fantastic.
It's nice.
This is just as good as the studio you use every morning on the ticket, isn't it?
This is nice. Yeah, I mean, it's well done, and obviously my first comment was, Owen, did you do this? Because I figured he did, and he did.
Because I sure as hell didn't do it.
There's no if right now, for the three of us had tool belts on, you're looking at you're looking at what, a couple years of work is what it would be. It'd be a couple years.
Do you guys have a beer fridge?
No, we do not have a beer fridge. You guys, we have one-up us all the time out there.
We got to have something. That's got to have something.
So how do you get in on the, well, here's what you can do. You can go to gdefy.com and then pick out your shoes. And then as you check out, just put in the promo code DocTalk50 and you're going to get a nice discount on those shoes. And Rob has like 6 or 7 pair. I have a pair that I wore all around Italy. I brought 2 pair of shoes to Italy last week. I never wore my dress shoes. I wore my G-Defys every single day, and my feet felt great afterwards.
There you go.
Because
which actually, I just ordered my son another pair.
Really?
So
he likes that Verso Shock technology as well. Then
exactly.
See,
he did say they're.
What was that again?
Verso Shock.
Verso Shock. Okay.
Yeah.
It's you wear them, and they do have kind of a different feel for them, and it's not something where it's like, okay, I got to get used to this. It's not that kind of different. It's okay, that's different.
I'm getting a
great.
Pair. I'm doing it. I'm getting a pair.
And you can get any color you want, any style you want, running shoes, hiking shoes, walking shoes, you name it.
And I did use the Doc Talk 50 code.
Did you? And it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, the Doc Talk 50 code does work. So I got my 50% off. So not 50, I'm sorry, 30%.
30% off, yeah.
So it gives you 30% off. Which
that's a great deal. I'm doing it.
On a pair of shoes anymore, it's pretty good.
And they wear well. I mean, mine still look brand new, and I wear them all the time.
Which, by the way, the other thing that's nice about them, I know we're totally going off on G-Defy right now. Was it 60-day return policy? And you can wear them for 60 days. And if you're like, okay, it's not my thing, call them up, free returns.
Yeah.
I would question you as a person, though, if you did wear them for 60
totally
days
get it, but
send them back. I'd be like, seriously?
Yeah, that's true.
I'd be like, no, but it's a great policy.
But if you don't like them, fine, send them back. They'll refund you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we got a shoe deal. It's not Nike, it's not Adidas, it's G-Defy, and we like them.
You've got one.
Yeah, we've got a shoe deal.
There's 2 kinds of shows: those who have a shoe deal and those who don't. So there's where you're at.
I think when you get a shoe deal, you arrived as a show, right?
No doubt about that.
Man, how the hell you been?
It's been great to get a chance to come down here and be with you guys. It's one of my favorite things to do and enjoy it. And obviously, right now, I mean, it won't be, but it could be a 9-hour show. But there's so many things going on to talk. I mean, right now, with you just start naming off playoffs, opt-outs, transfer portal, coaching changes, scandals, you name them. You could go on forever right now. So it's hard to do a show because there's a lot of things to talk about.
Well, let's start with volleyball because we all waited to start this podcast until the volleyball match got over with. Nebraska loses at home. People are mad at me on Twitter already because I went on X right away and said, okay, failure is a strong word. But when you have an undefeated team, you're number one all year long, you have the best atmosphere in college volleyball, you have the expectation of a national title, or at least the Final Four, and you don't get there, how else do you describe it? I know that's hard on college kids, but you know what? They probably have the highest payroll in volleyball as well. How else do you choke, failure, disappointment? How do you describe something that just happened in Lincoln? Because that wasn't supposed to happen.
It was not supposed to happen. I mean, that's very clear. The one thing I would bring up is for some reason I got enthralled with watching Louisville and Texas A&M Friday night. Some reason I got to watching that.
And that was a hell of a match, too.
It was ridiculous. And it was a reverse sweep by A&M, but I didn't see the first two. I just saw the last three. As I'm watching this, I'm like, Texas A&M, I go, they're real. I mean, compared to watching Nebraska versus Kansas right after that, it looked a lot different watching what A&M looked like. So right away, I go, this will be a little bit of a different test than what you saw. But me and Rob said this off air that I'm not a volleyball genius by any stretch, but when you watch it, you know what's good. And obviously A&M was good, and obviously Nebraska has been fabulous also.
Which, I mean, sometimes it's a matchup thing in my mind, and that was probably one of the bigger and really, really athletic teams that Nebraska's faced this year. Now, they faced some very good teams. I mean, you look at Minnesota, you look at Wisconsin, those are big teams. Anybody's got the height, they've got the reach in that sport. But God, that is a team that A&M is loaded with big, crazy fast athletes, and they were well prepared. I mean, their blocking,
their ability to block was what
amazing.
I need to put this in quick that I was at the Nutcracker, so I didn't get tuned into this until the fourth set, the crazy one. That's when I got,
because kids come first. And it's like, do I watch the game or do I go to the Nutcracker?
Exactly. So my daughter Gigi was dancing, so that
cool,
that took over to be able to do that. But we were tuned in immediately when literally, true story, the Nutcracker ends. The lights go up, and the lady in front of me has her phone, and she's watching the game. So I'm watching. So me and her are watching it in the lead center as we're walking out. By the time we walk out, my son-in-law is tracking it on his phone. Leighton is tracking it, and all the way down. Then they pulled it off, and then by that time I got to my vehicle to head up here, so I got to be able to catch the radio version of it, which honestly a lot of fun to listen to. What that is like to listen to.
John Baylor's the best when it comes to volleyball.
He was so good. Yeah, it was really good. So to say that I saw everything, I didn't, but all I heard from other comments was A&M's ability at the net to block.
So,
it was like that. They went on a 10-0 run. Nebraska was up 15-10 first set, and you're sitting there going like, all right, we got these guys. It's fine. Next thing you know, it's 20-15 A&M, and you're going, all right, we got a freaking ball game here now. We might be in trouble. Because Nebraska they just did not have an answer for A&M's blocking.
So from a coaching perspective and a player's perspective, this can be hard because in football it's completely different. But when you go through a season unbeaten, I've always said this, it's good to lose one or two. Like in college basketball, I think if you lose one or two, it kind of gets your mind mentally prepared to get socked in the face at some time. Do you think it would have been good if Nebraska would have lost a match during the season?
So I was thinking about this, and I think the thing that went through my head was the value of being tested. Now, and again, I talk about this from a personal experience standpoint because, well, that's my perspective is on my own personal experience. And so I'm thinking about losing in a national title game my junior year. My senior year rolls around. We start off strong, and then it's quarterback out, walk on quarterback in. Mike Minter's out for the year. And then you get a couple of close games. You get some really tough teams that you got to beat. And then you get in that bowl game. We had 4 or 5 turnovers in that Orange Bowl against Miami. I mean, we should not have won that game. I mean, the coulda, woulda, shouldas were all in Miami's favor. So but we did. And I remember late in that game, you're sitting there going, okay, well, at the end of the day, we've had our backs up against the wall most of this football season. I mean, you go back to
the K-State game that year because you had Matt Turman at quarterback and what Chad May was the quarterback at K-State at the time, right? Now that was a pretty darn good team you guys faced.
Schneider put a ton of guys off that team into the NFL. It was a really good program. I mean, but it's just we had our backs against the wall. So by the time it's late fourth quarter, you're sitting there. I mean, you never ever felt like you were out of it. You never felt that. There's a pressure you can get into that can really hurt you in those situations. And I remember late in that bowl game against Miami, you're still sitting there going like, all right, I mean, shit, we got plenty of time.
Well, in watching the volleyball game today, there was a couple times. Now, they made a nice comeback in the third and the fourth set, and the fourth set was epic, but there was still kind of that deer in the headlights like, oh, crap, we're getting beat at home.
And it was like that. Now, that's the thing, though. It was kind of like that to a degree the whole match, in my opinion. Even in the two sets they won, it was like, oh, my God, whew, thank God we pulled that out.
I've seen that happen a lot in overtime. I saw it just happen when Duke won the ACC. Sometimes when the team, I think after that win of the fourth set.
Over Virginia, you're talking about
Virginia. So Virginia makes an epic play to force the thing into overtime. Epic play. And they come out and Duke goes right down in overtime, scores. Next play, interception, game over. We thought it was like, how can Duke win this game? Well, that was the feeling probably in that auditorium after Nebraska came back and won 37-35. How could A&M still win this after that, being right there that close? So that type of a situation, that's difficult.
And I mean, when A&M took the lead in the fifth set, I don't want to say I was sitting there going, well, it's over. You're kind of sitting there going like, I don't have a good feeling about this. It's like they won the first two convincingly. The third and the fourth, they could have won both. Obviously, that fourth set was amazing. You got to the fifth set. Once they took a 3-4 point lead in that fifth set, I'm like, all right, they're back to where they were. They're back in that zone they had the first two sets, and they know they pushed Nebraska in 3 and 4. But when you think about that testing, what I'm kind of wondering here, I'm looking at this going, okay, the last Big Ten team left alive is Wisconsin. They've got Texas, who I've always kind of worried about all year as being potentially the best team in the country, because they always are one of the potentially best teams in the country in volleyball. And I'm sitting here going, God, if Texas knocks off Wisconsin, I want to go look and find out, when was the last time the Big Ten did not have a team in the Final Four?
That's a good question.
Because right now it's Kentucky, A&M, Pitt, and potentially Texas. And if that's it, you're sitting there going, God, that's a couple of ACC teams and a couple of
ACCs,
2 ACC and 2 SEC.
Yeah.
When was the last time Big Ten did not have a team in the final?
I wish you would have asked me that before we went on started recording. I would have got the answer for you.
I bet Owen could look it up.
Yeah,
he is producer extraordinaire. But here's my thing: the announcers were talking about how they kind of felt, and this is after that fifth set had ended, how Nebraska really didn't seem like they had been tested much this year. Now, you go back to the start of the year.
Kentucky took them to 5 sets.
And Nebraska had to reverse sweep Kentucky. So they lost the first two, then reverse swept them. Creighton took Nebraska to 5 sets.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've been tested. I'm not saying they haven't been.
There's a different when your season ends tested.
It is.
Way different than a September test.
Yeah, exactly.
If you lose, it's like, that sucks, but everything's in front of us.
But I do kind of also wonder if, to your point, Travis, if they had lost a couple of matches during the year, does that change things for this team? Does this tell them, hey, we're not this undefeatable monster. We bleed. We're human. We got to bring A+ game every freaking time we go out there. Is that? I worry that might have been what they didn't have, and that can exist. I'm not saying the players didn't take this seriously.
Oh, I think they took it seriously. But it's what Bill said.
But I think that can exist on almost on a subconscious level.
It's what you said. I mean, losing in September, at least you can be beat. All of a sudden, you're towards the Final Four is on the line, your season's on the line, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is happening in our place and nobody's ever done this to us. It was just like deer in the headlights.
Which I want to know, is there anybody on that team that was there? What was it, against Minnesota in 2022? That was over November of 2022 since they lost at home. It's over 3 years ago that they've lost at home.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, the whole thing was incredible. Incredible job. Obviously, like that, everyone's been part of these at some point in time of a loss that is you didn't feel. There's no way that I felt at any point in time this would happen. The people that are the most upset right now, besides all Husker fans, is the city of Kansas City, because that was going to get overrun. I mean, yes, they'll have a nice crowd. Nothing compared to if Nebraska was playing 2.5 hours away.
It was weird seeing Trev there, wasn't it? I mean, afterwards he's wearing his maroon and
you got that crowd, and then
got the perfect hair.
There's the perfect hair in the crowd. Yep, you can see the hair from a mile away.
What was your relationship with Trev? Pretty good.
Yeah, I've got along with him very good. Yeah, I had a great relationship with him. Assistant coach, athletic director. We're not spending a ton of time together, but we did talk a lot, see each other. I got the chance, I'd always see his family. And so got along just fine. Yeah, no issues there. And I always look at certain scenarios of somebody made a decision, a choice, they went a different direction. That's all what they're handling themselves. So I don't ever get myself too involved in one side or the other. Like, never should have left. This is crazy. Whatever. He made a decision, and he felt it was the best for him at that time. And so I hope he does. I hope things go well for him, but we always got along.
Of course, Trev fired Scott Frost, hired Matt Rhule, but let's go to Scott Frost, because over the weekend, he has filed a lawsuit against the Board of Regents. Now, I'm going to make a lot of people mad here, because people are like, well, do I get compensated for every loss we had to endure? I get it.
Which some of the comments on social media,
they're classic.
Were freaking hilarious.
However,
and I like those too. I like a good meme. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean,
some funny stuff. I enjoy that.
One of the ones I saw was like, do I get compensation for the onside kick and the 11 points scored after?
Now, we haven't seen the Board of Regents reply yet. All we've seen is Scott's lawsuit. I support him on this. If somebody sends you a W-2 for a couple $1 million more than you were actually compensated, hell yeah, you're going to sue, because you're paying more taxes and you're paying tax on something you were not compensated for. I totally get why he's doing it. Bill, would you, when you were let go and they sent you, well, here's your W-2 and we're going to just write it for, $200,000 more than what you actually got, you're going to sue.
Absolutely. It's real simple. If this is how it is, when someone has a contract and you sign the contract, whatever it is, you were awarded that contract. Be mad if you want, but that's the facts. It's kind of like the Brian Kelly thing when they won. All of a sudden, they're like, we're going after him with cause. And that went away. If you notice that went away. It's like, just pay him. You guys offer the contract. He signed the contract. Whatever the money is now the other side. We don't know what that is. But if there is a situation where you owe the money, then you just owe the money. That's just it. You pay it, or whatever it is, the W-2, however it is that you should not have to be like, well, it still went very well for me financially, so I'm fine. That's not how it works. If you owe them the money, you owe them the money.
Well, the way I read it is, and I get the mitigated damages thing, right? Meaning that, and I get that the Board of Regents saying, well, in your contract, if you got another job, and this through but you wrote a W-2 when he wasn't employed in 2022, and you made it out for several million more than it was supposed to be.
Yeah, you need to fix that.
Yeah. I mean, it just, and they sent it late. How do you send a W-2 in September and not by the end of January like every other employer is supposed to do?
Yeah, it's no matter how you look at it, for the overall picture, it's still a bad look.
For Nebraska or for Scott? Or for both?
Almost on both sides. If it comes back that if Nebraska can answer this and say, hang on a second, this is exactly how it was done and it was done correctly, that's a bad look this way. If it's done the other way, it's a bad look. But no matter what, you have this conversation, because all the people that read is just the general first words, right? If you're sitting if you're at Iowa State reading that, going like, that place is a mess. That's all you really care about, because you don't dig into the weeds of what's going on. And so no matter what, it's not a great conversation to have out there about your university and a former coach that you're at odds.
Yeah, I look at Scott, and I'm sure there's people in Central Florida going, "What are you doing? You just came off a season where you didn't go to a bowl game. You're getting distracted. You're suing your own." But I totally get it. He said he got audited by the IRS. He had to pay a buttload of taxes, and nobody likes to pay taxes. I don't care who anybody is. Nobody likes to send money to the IRS.
It is the cost of civilization.
Yeah.
Who said that?
I don't know. Tell me.
It'd be Oliver Wendell Holmes.
Oliver, look at you, you smart guy. Would you get a 35 on your ACT?
So that's probably the only Oliver Wendell Holmes quote I remember, but there you go.
Man.
We're not going to get into ACT conversation. I'm not going to come out of this very well.
Here's the deal. Rob's ACT is probably higher than yours and I's combined because mine was really low.
So we could just stay off that and move on to another topic off the ACT test.
You know, you mentioned Iowa State. There's kind of an interesting coaching search and situation there.
What?
What's your opinion? Your wife graduated from Iowa State.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on Campbell leaving?
I think it was the right time. 10 years at Ames is a long time, man. That's a long time. I mean,
why do you hate Ames?
I don't hate Ames.
By the way, for all of our Iowa people, Travis Justice hates Ames.
I don't hate Ames.
Quote.
The only thing
10
I know
years is a long time in Ames, Iowa.
It is. I mean, he turned down USC. He's turned down other NFL gigs.
I'm trying to remember because sort of the mantra with Matt Campbell had always been he's not leaving unless it's Notre Dame, an NFL job, or Ohio State.
Well, they were wrong. It's Penn State because Ryan May, he ain't going anywhere for a long time. And he got the Iowa State job when he was 36.
He was young.
He was very, I mean, I think
Well, I'm still older than the guy, so I'm like,
Danny Nee always told me, and Bill, you've been around. I mean, how many times have you moved?
It's a lot. I'm going to say professionally, probably 12.
12 times.
10 to 12, maybe professionally.
I mean, that's a lot, right? Danny Nee told me one time, he goes, Trav, you got to move every 7 years. He goes, especially if you're a head coach. He goes, because either you get complacent or they get sick of you. One or the other is going to happen. And, moving every 7 years is a good philosophy. Now, it doesn't work for everybody, obviously, but I
don't know if it's a great family philosophy.
Well, I mean...
But it's part of it when you get in this profession. Like I always say, do not feel sorry for me because I chose it. And so with moves and different things, and it is harder on your family, but that is part of it. At the same time, while it's a rough in the movement, it'd be nice just to be in that same neighborhood the entire time. Sometimes they get some experiences that nobody else gets. These kids get a chance to, I was going to practice with my dad. We went to all these different bowl games. Different things happen. And also I lived in different places, so I got to learn. I don't have a home base, but you know what? I know what it's like to go to school in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I know what it's like to go to school in Salt Lake City. And so you have all this different knowledge in your head of different
adaptability.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in small town Nebraska my entire life. That was it. 1 year in Iowa, the rest of it was small town Nebraska, which worked out great. And the last big part of mine was in Pender. So I had that was awesome. I wouldn't have traded it. But the other part of it's there's some interesting parts to it also.
Pendragons.
Yeah.
Where were you in Iowa?
What's that? George, Iowa, which would be just south of, 45 miles south of Okoboji.
Okay.
And so in that area, small town, it would have been like a Class C2 school. My dad taught there for a couple of years, and then we came back to Nebraska.
So George, did it have its own high school? Because I'm pretty good on Iowa geography, but that.
So what's crazy is I spoke at an event a while back, and I mentioned Iowa, people from Iowa there, and I mentioned George. I always do, and about 4 people go, "I know right where it's at. I could drive to it right now." I said, "You know what? I've talked about George, Iowa for 25 years, and no one's ever heard of it. It's the George, Iowa. It's the Blue Jays. Their fight song was the Notre Dame fight song with just different words added in, and it was awesome."
See, that's new for me because both my parents and my father-in-law all from Iowa. Not to mention one of my best friends. And it's like, so I know Iowa.
I hope you're talking about me.
Yes.
Okay.
No, killing me. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I've been all over Iowa. I've never heard of George, Iowa.
Yeah, either have I.
Small town. Like I said, it was still 11-man football.
Which so much. Iowa's kind of a unique state because in my opinion, 90% of Iowa is small towns that are outside of another small town. Like with my father-in-law, I always have to explain. So he grew up on a farm outside Cushing, Iowa, and people are like, Cushing, never heard of it. And I'm like, well, it's a small town outside of Correctionville. And they're like, what's Correctionville? I'm like, well, it's another
small town.
It's an ever so slightly less small town.
Kind of like that. But it was a nice, easy drive to Arnold's Park.
Yeah.
So it was,
okay.
Took about an hour to get to Arnold's Park. That's what I remember.
So just like straight south.
Just straight south of it.
Because I know Arnold's Park.
Yeah. How far is, you've heard of Orange City, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we were within maybe 20 some miles of Orange City.
Okay.
So that's
25
northwestern, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's Dutch territory.
Yeah.
That's
some hardcore Dutch, right?
George Schuler, or Robert Schuler's from Orange City. You know Robert Schuler? Power of Positive Thinking.
Yeah.
He started the Crystal Cathedral in California.
I don't know about that. I don't need powers of positive thinking. I already think positive.
That was on every Sunday.
It was.
So okay, so
he was from Orange City. I didn't know.
Yeah, he's from Orange City.
Pastor that was on TV every.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Robert Schuler, right?
Yeah, the Hour of Power.
The hour. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
then his son took over.
Yeah, and then the church folded. I mean, it ended badly. And now the Crystal Cathedral, which he built, is now the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Orange County. I mean, it went from like this Reformed Dutch church to a Roman Catholic church. Really weird, but that's what happened. I know this much stuff about, because, when I got fired in Wausau, I was 23, 24 years old. I was down on my luck, man. I never thought I was going to work in television again. And so I went into the self-help thing, and it was Robert Schuler was the book that I picked up. I found God for 3 or 4 months, read The Power of Positive Thinking.
Your wife just
tough times never last, but tough people do.
Your wife just didn't tell you to get your shit together.
Well, I was offered a job in Texas, and the one I'll never forget, I was offered a job in Grand Junction, Colorado. And I remember doing the interview on the phone, and they're like, come on out here. We want you to be, they go, we're going to hire you for the weekend.
Pretty country out there.
It is, but hold on. They go, we really think you should be the sports director, but we've passed the guy over 4 times, and we're going to give it to him. We're going to make you the weekend sports anchor. And I'm like, well, hold on. I'm going to go in and already know that I'm better than the guy. That's not going to be good. And they offered me $9,500 a year. And I said, I can't live off that. They're like, well, the scenery is part of your salary. I said, oh, no, it's not. Yeah. I said, I'm looking at an Iowa cornfield right now, and that looks really good.
Scenery's not paying grocery.
So then I go, bills. What do your other reporters do? They're like, well, they have part-time jobs. I said, where do they work? Walmart. I said, I'm not going to be on television and then be a greeter at Walmart. That's not happening. So did you ever, when you were coaching early on, did you ever have to have a part-time job somewhere?
There was never a part-time job. As a graduate assistant, you're always scrambling around, but you always worked for the university in some aspect in the summers. So there was never a part-time job, but you felt like you needed one. But I know this, I've said this numerous times, is that you did figure out wherever you were working as a young coach, where there might be food in the building. As far as like, hey, did you hear about down at the ticket office? It's so-and-so's birthday. And you just magically appeared. Hey, whoa, cake. Wow. That looks awesome.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. So you had there was no food. So you worked hard to find a meal was a lot.
True story. When Lance Leipold was working at UNO, he was running backs coach before he became the offensive coordinator under Pat Burns. He would ask me where I get my clothes. And I said, well, I had a clothing allowance on Fox 42 and Channel 3. And I go to Jerry Ryan. He goes, oh, I go to name brand clothing to get. I mean, that's where, as an assistant coach at D2, you're not making any money.
No.
And he's going to half off. I'm like, now I look at him now, he's getting like $6-7 million a year at Kansas. I'm like, well, you're not shopping at name brand clothing anymore, Lance.
No.
Like the coaches who, and you're one of them. The guys who came up in this era of where it was, sleeping on cots and back offices and so-and-so's got a birthday party. We're having cake for lunch today.
Sounds perfect.
It's the guys who came into coaching and had to live and work through that era to where it is now, where you see the salaries that you see now. Like, I look at those guys and I'm like, God bless them.
Even the intern / first level are not in that spot. And I look back on it now, I'm just so thankful. I went to Northern Arizona. I moved had no place to live. So I lived for 3 months in the dome. I lived in my office. I'd put a note up on the door. So if they came to clean, like at 4 a.m, I'd say, hey, I'm inside sleeping. And I would take the cushions off the recruiting couch, and I'd put them in my office and push them together, sleep there, had a shower, had a gym, and then you went into the video room, and they had one TV with cable. So I'd go in there at night and I'd watch TV on a little TV about this big.
Perfect.
And then I'd go back to my room, I'd watch some film or do whatever. And I had, there was a fridge down below, and I had some food I'd go get from Walmart. And guess what? It was fine. Didn't think anything of it. Just slept in there I was there for 4 months until I finally got enough money together to be able to get a apartment.
Which, I mean, the story I always think about. So Joel Makovica, when he wrapped up his NFL career, initially wanted to get into coaching, and he got hooked up. He was, oh my gosh, I just completely blanked. I can picture his face. University of Virginia. This would have been like really late 90s. Al Groh.
Yeah,
so he was Al Groh staff at Virginia, grad assistant coach. And I remember talking to Joel. He and I would hang out down at Creighton when I was in anesthesia residency, and he was doing PT residency. And I remember asking him, like, dude, you were out east. And he's like, yeah, I was at Virginia. And I'm like, I really thought you wanted to stay in football, be a coach. What happened? And he talked about how he said, he goes, we all got cots and put cots in the offices because we were there so much that sleep was such a premium that he said that 20 to 30 minutes round trip drive time to go back to your apartment. He goes, it wasn't worth losing that 30 minutes of sleep.
100%.
He said you needed it.
Yeah.
And so he said, we just never left.
That was big in LA, like when all the LA, the UCLA staff especially, they lived an hour something away. You couldn't afford anything in that area.
Yeah.
So they lived an hour something away, and they would sleep in their office Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, maybe even Thursday, just because if they left and got traffic going home at whatever time, and then traffic goes, so their drive was well over an hour. So they were losing over 2.5 hour time. They're just like, I'm just going to sleep in my office. And so there's like, it's just easier.
You should write a book, the stories of just coming up through the coaching ranks. I mean, you're on the speaking circuit now, and you might as well just write a book and sell the book at your speaking gigs.
I don't know if it'd get a lot of attention, but it has been a lot of fun, just like Rob was saying.
The experiences, though, I mean, the price you pay to get to the level of coaching where you've coached at has always impressed me. And everybody, I mean, everybody, they do it jokingly. I was like, Rob, you're going to go back and be Nebraska's O-line coach? And I'm sitting here going like, I'm going to stay a doctor. There's way less stress.
It's a way better deal, just so you know it. Yeah. Yes. Once again, I didn't have that option because of my ACT. I wasn't getting into any of that. But I, like I said, in Nebraska, which I talk about openly, I volunteered there. That's why I worked at the Lincoln Racket Club for get there whatever time, 4:30 something in the morning. Then I'd go down and I would just hang out at Coach Osborne agreed to let me work for free. So I was working with Kevin Steele, and I was working with Dave Gillespie and recruiting for free. And then Kevin Steele just walked by me one time. He goes, you want to coach or do recruiting? So I want to coach. He goes, come with me. So I just started working with him, working with Charlie, being around the defense. And then I'd be there all day, and then I'd go back to the Lincoln Racket Club at night. And then I would just drive to all the games myself. But that was all free.
You couldn't even get on the bus or the plane with them?
Did not make the... You know why? I didn't work there. I was just there. They knew who I was. But George Darlington would sneak me into the press box because he could give me his press pass because they would recognize George to get me in. Bill Weber got me in a lot of times because it's at the south end zone that Rob was in. Remember the red doors in the south end zone? So I just stand out there because I would even get there on game day and I'd be like, oh yeah, Bill Busch. And they'd look up, we don't have no Bill Busch.
So you weren't even a GA at the time then?
No, I was volunteered.
Wow. That couldn't happen today, could it? In today's world?
It'd be harder to not, because now they can hire you. There was no analyst in. There was no anything. All you had was at the time, there was 5 GAs, full-time. And that was it. There was no other option. And so like when I was working for free, I was just up in the office and helping out with anything. But my name was on nothing. No one knew I was there of any sort type of deal. And then eventually I would say Coach Osborne thought I worked there. And that's how I got started as a graduate assistant. And that's what right after I got started, that's when Rob would have shown up for his career.
Which I remember when you were down there as a GA. And
just kind of hanging out, trying to find a way to work things out. But some crazy stuff happens with it. They went from 5 GAs to 2, and I remember going, I'm done, because I hadn't played there at Nebraska, and so but coach was able to move things around. They kept myself and Jerry Godowski. That was the 2 guys that were kept, and then after 1 year, when Shane Thorell was still there, they'd made a change that they were going to make them part-time coaches, which means they were going to combine salaries. You could have 5 spots, and they were going to pay Shane, and they're going to pay me and Jerry a salary. And so, which would have meant I could have been at Nebraska and probably would have never left Nebraska, and that got voted down. And so it stuck back to the GA world, which means you have a shelf life. So when the shelf life hit, then I was out to go find a new job. So that was now you can hire someone as an analyst, and they can actually still coach on the field
and make a shitload of money
and make money and have food and all those things. So, but I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So you mentioned that you got great experiences all over the country. One of those was Salt Lake City. You coached at Utah. Nebraska is going to play Utah in the Las Vegas Bowl. You worked for Kyle Whittingham, right?
I did.
So, I mean, are your heartstrings torn in this game?
Sure. It's always hard when you have someone that you're that close of a friend to. And so I always stay pretty neutral. Obviously, I have my passion for Nebraska. I'm never going to say my whole life was I worked my whole life to coach at Nebraska, and I got to do it 3 different times. And then now that I'm not coaching, they're like, I don't know if I like that place or not. That's not true. I love Nebraska, everything about it. And obviously, Kyle Whittingham's one of my best friends. So, and then I was able to do a radio show every week. So I just did it a couple days ago. So I do it with ESPN out of Salt Lake.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so it's kind of fun to talk about Utah football. And we always talk about BYU, Utah State, but the main point of everything is about Utah football. So, so Kyle Whittingham is, you talk about the gift of life. He came there, I think, in I don't know what year, in 94 maybe, as an assistant coach, moved up to coordinator, moved up to head coach. So he hasn't moved out of Salt Lake City in like 35 years. Imagine that.
That's unheard of.
Why did he stay so long? We brought up Matt Campbell and leave it. Why did he? I mean, because he replaced Urban Meyer. I mean, think about it. He's been 21 years at Utah, and this is going to be his last game.
Salt Lake City, have you been there?
Too many Mormons for me. Sorry.
Damn.
I know. I'll go there. Too many Mormons for me.
Beautiful city.
Oh, it's awesome.
And guess what?
I've been there, though.
There's stuff to do.
Yeah.
Ames.
Park City.
Yeah, you go to Ames. You go to wrestling and watch wrestling. That's the best.
Salt Lake City is beautiful. But he just had some right opportunities and just did an incredible job. Like I said, he was so awesome to work for. Obviously,
that's a hell of a gift for a coach to have that kind of career.
Yeah, and I got lucky. I mean, I always say that. I text Kyle the other day and just say I wouldn't have ever been in this business like it worked out for me without him. Because when Urban came in to Salt Lake City, he went to dinner that night with Kyle to retain Kyle. And so Kyle made one push. He goes, if we can just please keep Bill Busch with me on staff. We're really good on defense and we can hold it together with 2 guys and that. And he goes, I appreciate that, but we're full. And so Kyle called me that night and said, I just got done with dinner with Urban. There's nothing available. And I said, okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for the fight. Next day, they bring everyone in and they talk to him. I was one of the last ones. And so I was the very last one. So I go in and talk to Urban and we start talking about different stuff. And I had a lot of guys at that time committed. My area of recruiting was American Samoa and Hawaii. And we had a bunch of guys that were committed to Utah already. So I tell them how to hold that together, what to do and stuff. Because when new coaches come in, that's just how it goes. That's not the time to be bitter with what, if you want to keep your job, just be better at the last time.
Keep that bridge.
Yeah. There's no reason to be like, this is, So we had a great long conversation. We talked for probably over an hour. Everybody else got about 30 seconds, kind of came in, out, and I got about an hour or something. And so he goes, Bill, I got a guy getting on a plane in about a half hour, from Bowling Green. And I said, do you mind if I clean my locker out in my office out tonight when everyone's gone? So I got the keys. I'll just come back in and clean. I don't want to do it right now in the middle of the day when all this stuff's going on like that. I just do it that direction like that. He goes, yeah, no problem. So I got in my Jeep and was taking off. It was right before Christmas. It was like December 23rd. And I was driving to the mall, and Coach Whittingham calls me. Kyle calls me. He says, hey, he goes, Urban changed his mind, come back. So he called the guy back in Bowling Green and said, don't get on the plane. We're keeping, and so he didn't get to come. And so I came back and I got held over.
Really?
So that's what I got to be with Urban here at Utah, and I got to be with Urban again at Ohio State, and we became very close friends. It all started with that one conversation that just, you had I remember thinking, I got one shot here. I really didn't go into sales mode. I just tried to be authentic a little bit, but I didn't think, and he even told me, he goes, we don't have anything. So that's how the business works. But he ended up retaining me, and then obviously we did really well, and it worked out for everybody at that point.
Because you left Utah to come to Nebraska,
that's
right?
Correct.
Under Callahan.
That's correct. Yes. And so I said that when, and the funny thing was, true story, at that Urban, he wasn't like he was trying to throw me out, because Urban kind of liked me because I'd recruited Alex Smith to Utah. And,
pretty good quarterback, by the way.
But
he did okay.
So when he reached out to me, I mean, when they called Urban to talk to me, it was a 51-49 if I was going to take that. I'm like, I didn't want to leave. I loved Utah. The guy gave me a shot to stay there. We were really good. All those things. I really didn't think about that. And Urban comes back in and shuts the door. He goes, just rip the Band-Aid off and go. He said that in the end, he said, you'll kick yourself a lot worse if you don't go back to a spot where you've been and different things than whatever at that. And so I'm like, you're right. And so, but crazy story was, so the job was done. I'd taken the job. But we had a lot of guys committed, and luckily for mine, that a lot of them were my recruits. So I got a phone call from a guy at the Wednesday night recruiting party. Remember those Wednesday night things you'd have we're all watching videos and the fans are there.
Yep.
And there's a guy there, and he comes over and he goes, there's something came across my plate here about you involved with Nebraska. And I said, I'm not sure. Yeah, nothing going on. And my flight was already booked the next morning. Now, I had properly said goodbye to my players and done all those things. I didn't just, skate out of town, but that's kind of how it worked out. But, and again, to go back on that. So if I don't have Kyle pushing for me, I never meet Urban Meyer. I never have all these other things happen. So how chance meetings can change your life is pretty crazy.
Well, hold on to that thought, because I want to talk about the upcoming game. But I do want to say, hey, if you're looking for Nebraska gear, you might want Nebraska basketball gear now, because the Huskers are unbeaten. They beat Illinois and going to be move up the rankings.
Ranked Illinois.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know how they did it? With an Iowa kid. Just saying. Saying.
That should be the lead story.
Just saying.
That should be the lead story.
But make sure to get your Nebraska gear at Husker Hounds, 2 locations in the Omaha area. Of course, the Superstore at 84th and Center. You can get your parkas now because it's colder than hell outside, your hoodies, your sweatshirts, anything you need to represent the University of Nebraska. You can be found at Husker Hounds or at huskerhounds.com. And if you need legal representation, if you're suing the Board of Regents, or if you need...
if you want to, if you're just thinking about it.
Estate planning or anything like that, the Orr Law Group is where you want to go. Connor Orr and his team have got you covered. Again, go to orlawgrp.com. It's orlawgrp.com. How do you look at this game? I mean, how much emotion will these guys play for Kyle?
So the first thing is, and you guys have been viewing this for a long time, and that was different when Rob was playing early on, or any time as Nebraska. A couple times Rob would have played in an Orange Bowl where one side was a national championship potential and the other side wasn't. There's a couple times we went down there for Nebraska, and we were 9-2, won the Big 8, but we're playing Miami, who, if they win, they're winning it all. If we win, it's a great win. It was still viewed as the preparation was no different. It was insane. Like all bowl games kind of were. Now there's a big part of like, who's going to be the most interested? You can watch bowl games, and if you can just look at them and go, who's going to be the most interested? So I would say for this game, for fans and for those who are trying to travel to that game, is that you have a game that I think of all the games might be the most interested, with nothing really on the line. There's not a lot on the there's nothing on the line except for pride and how we're moving forward. But with that being said, I think that'll be an insane crowd. I really think, because Utah, you can drive there at 6 hours from Salt Lake City, or 5.5, whatever. So Southern Utah can be there.
They're bringing a crowd.
They're bringing a crowd, and then Nebraska will bring a huge crowd because you can drive from LA and Phoenix and people just traveling out there.
It's Vegas. People from Nebraska.
It's New Year's Eve, so it all adds up. So point is, you're going to have two sides that have turned their keys that says we're going to play, and this game really matters. So I think that is really big. I think the trade-off with who's out is about even. Their two tackles who are potential first-round draft picks for Utah are not playing, and their best.
Is one of those the Outland winner?
What's that? Did he? I didn't see that. The Outland. I didn't see the vote.
Yeah, he did.
He won it. Yeah,
he won
that'd be
Outland.
him. So those two are out, and their best defensive end is not playing. Where Nebraska has Spindler out, obviously a big piece with Emmett Johnson being out for much of offense. And I believe was there one more am I missing? I thought it was like about 3 for 3.
Yeah, I think one more went out too. I think declared for, or it might have been Spindler who I saw. I thought there was. I've been out of the country, so I've been a little disconnected.
3 and 3. So again, about even, and then you still say they have an injury at quarterback. Nebraska does. So they have an injury at quarterback, starting a true freshman, even though he's played some now. So the game's going to be extremely, that way it'll be really good. Both teams will be highly prepared. There'll probably be a little edge to Utah with it being Coach Whittingham's last game, a little bit there. But I've seen that before too. I can remember sometimes thinking, man, it's senior day, and this would be a time maybe when Oklahoma was a little bit more dominant and be a home game. I'm thinking it's senior day. This is nuts. Everyone's going crazy. Then they kick the ball off, and the foot hits the ball, and then everything gets back to football. So I think this will just get back to football. But I think both teams are really even in that area.
How does the coaching changes affect this when you're looking at new D coordinator and new line coaches on both sides of the ball? How does that affect this?
Not much. I mean, it really does. You're not going. If I'm going to say, and you hear that from Phil Snow saying, we're not into changing a bunch. Let's just try to see if we can get lined up and play better. Which is what you should be doing. So I don't think either side's going, they are going to make changes. They're going to do different stuff. Is there anything that I would look at that might happen different for Nebraska offensively, and I have no insight to it, would be, do you see quarterback counter, quarterback power, more true quarterback run game, kind of like you saw Army, Navy, both sides of it run. It's like, hey, we're gonna fake the toss and run counter back this way, quarterback counter. So now it's 11-on-11 football. Nebraska hadn't done that much with an athletic quarterback. The zone read keep, and that's about in a couple scrambles in a quarterback draw hasn't. So that would be something that might come up, but you don't look at it too much like, okay, this is going to be crazy different with it, because when you're going into this, you just want to get your team to play really well.
What do you think of the hires? We talked about Jeep Wade last week. We did an emergency podcast last week, which got a lot of views, but got a new defensive coordinator coming in, and now a rush ends coach coming in. What do you guys think of those hires?
To start it off with, I always say this. If I always make this comment too, and people ask me, "Well, what do you think about Nebraska?" And this, I'm like, you know what? I have a couple thoughts, maybe, but I'm not in the room. So I'm kind of the same way. These guys have come in. I've never worked with them, but if you look at how Georgia Tech ran their offense and what they did, it makes you proud as an old coach. You watch it and go, I like what they're saying. I like what this looks like. You talk about the quarterback run game I just mentioned, and that might be why you could also bring it over, because you have great film. What were you guys doing right here? Well, let me show you. We have 100 snaps of quarterback counter or power. And how'd you guys run it? Let me show you how we did it. So there are some things there that Georgia Tech did. So I like that piece of it. Defensively, obviously, numbers are really well. Their guys must have played really hard. I didn't watch a lot of San Diego State, but the numbers were really good. But I did watch them really beat up Boise State. I saw that game. It was a late game. It was at San Diego, and I remember at San Diego State. I remember watching that. But I don't know them personally, but I do like the things they're talking about.
I'd at least heard of Jeep Wade, which I've mentioned that before, although I probably pay way more attention to the O-line world than most non-football coaches should. But I at least knew who Jeep Wade was. And interestingly enough, if you follow, again, I talk a lot about D2 football. If you follow the Northern Sun Conference, and I'm going to butcher his name, is it Auerlich, the new D coordinator?
I believe so. You might have like that.
He's a Northern Sun guy. He was up at Bemidji, I think. I'm going to double check that. I thought he was at Bemidji. But he was like Bemidji, South Dakota State. So, I mean, if you follow
Idaho.
and then, and I mean, and when you had guys like, I think it was, Darren. Who is the head coach of South Dakota State now?
Now?
Yeah.
I have no idea who
I'm drawing a blank. I'm not sure right now. Obviously,
Jackson.
Because the former head coach now is at Iowa
State, because he went to Washington State
for 1 year.
Jackson went from, he was South Dakota State guy, then Northern Illinois, then Vanderbilt, then Idaho, and then back as the head guy at South Dakota State. And he had followed him at least through till Idaho is my understanding. So
it's fun to watch when you're viewing like coaches like that. I mention this all the time. It's like, okay, Harbaugh jumps out to me, like him or not. I don't care about any of that stuff. He went to San Diego non-scholarship and won. Then he went to Stanford, and they won. And then he went to the 49ers. And they won. And so we've been at different places like that. So I always like looking at coordinators that have been at different places, because sometimes you just fall backwards into some of the best players in the country like that. I like guys that have been in the Northern Sun that had to find a way to stop people in a different scheme. Then they had to change schemes because this was different. And sometimes your logo is different.
It's a different style of football.
And so I like guys that have done it at different places with limited amounts of resources, and they found a way to be successful. And it sounds like that's what this guy has done.
Did you ever want to be a head coach?
Sorry, Dan Jackson.
Dan Jackson.
So I know he was my understanding, he was a Dan Jackson guy who, again, now back at South Dakota State as the head coach. So, but the guy's got he's got a hell of a track record.
Did you ever want to be a head coach? Did you ever want?
So I thought about this one day. This came up today. Hand to God. It came up today. I go, there's something like, what'd you regret? And I probably regret at times that I didn't work hard enough to be in that position to be that head coach, or I didn't do a Signetti when I easily could have, when I had enough success, say when things were going well at Nebraska or whatever, where I could have said, you know what, I'm going to take an FCS head coaching job. And I could have had those and most likely landed those jobs, bet on myself in those cases. So I've never been able to be in front and just say, it's my program and I'm running it. And so that's a regret that I'll always have, that not having that happen to do the overall. You have to do some things. I mean, I had an opportunity a while back when I was in a discussion with the Big Sky team, and I was like, man, that pay cut is a lot. It's not kinda. It's like, wow, well, you saw Signetti do it. I mean, you saw him do it. His wife was like, "What are we? What?" And it's paid off. So I kind of kick. Now? If you think I'm the next Signetti, I'm not saying that at all. I just kind of wish maybe at one point in time I said, "Hey, let's go do this." But it went from being at LSU with the chance to come back to just different things kind of happened. And I was in pretty good spot, coaching at Wisconsin, coaching at Nebraska, Ohio State, a lot of different spots were pretty cool. And so I always kind of wish would have been like, but those certain things haunt you. That one doesn't really haunt me. I just kind of look back going, I kind of wish maybe I had a shot at it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if money was the deal. And because a D1 assistant makes more than a head coach in an FCS school now. I mean, that's
a lot more.
Yeah. A lot more.
Yeah. They really do.
And there's something to be said for paying bills.
Yes.
So, one of the other questions, thinking about the assistant coaches, and this is kind of the question with the line coaches this past year. Do you have an opinion on bringing in as your full-time assistant coach the assistant position coach from an NFL team? And I'm looking at Raiola and who is it? Terry Braden, I think, was the defensive line coach. I mean, both guys came in as assistant position coaches from the NFL.
It's an interesting take because if you look at the small bit of information right there, it would stand out to be like the hypothesis has some legs to it. It's like, okay, this didn't match up exactly. I would always look a little deeper to see what everything that goes with it, with, how much were you in control of your room, meaning were you able to recruit to your room, be able to do that? Defensive line was not. When he showed up, they went all the way through the Super Bowl. I mean, recruiting was over. There was going to be a late portal, and that was about it. So he didn't have any chance to control his room at all. That's why things changed in recruiting so much, and it went position rather than, because I used to have areas. I mean, why did I recruit Alex Smith? Because I had San Diego. That's the only reason. So, but now that doesn't happen because like Ed Ogeron is like, you want your room to be good? Recruit your room. And it's on you. And if all of a sudden you're like going like, we're not talented enough, that was on you to build your room up.
What's the better way to do it? A region or the room? Because like you said, you had Hawaii, you had Samoa, you had San Diego, and you could build better relationships. It seems you could build better relationships that way instead of trying to go nationwide. What would you prefer, the room or a region?
Yeah, probably because I'm just old. Yeah, it's not even close to me. I still like region because it's like I highly doubt that I'd be like, Rob, I got this guy. He's really good. He's a left tackle. He's only 5'11", but you'll love him. No, I know what they're supposed to look like. All the different things that go with it by position. So it's like insulting when someone's like, "Hey, I found a great D lineman. Okay, I'll take it over now." Like that. That's like, oh, no, I'm good.
Which, the thing that's interesting to me is that my experience at Nebraska was it was kind of unique because we had two O-line coaches. You had Tenneper, you had Dan Young. And Dan handled like the passing aspect of it. Milt handled the run. Dan's recruiting territory was the state of Nebraska.
Yep.
That was it. And I love Dan, by the way. Great human being.
One of the best. Do you know him?
Oh, yeah.
But you kind of had to get to know him to kind of understand how to talk to the guy. And I say that in the sense that, I always call him, he was kind of weirdly, nerdly smart. And because
math teacher.
He was a math guy.
At Westside. He had Westside school.
He thought like a mathematician. And it's like, I had a lot of really, really great conversations with him, but I think 90% of it was because I was a freaking nerd.
Yeah. So your conversation took about 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Dan talked super slow. So that would have been,
It was he would have these weird, crazy in-depth conversations about the minutia of some obscure subject matter. And if you got into that with him, it was the greatest conversation ever.
And he was dry and hilariously funny.
Yeah.
One of the funniest humans.
He really was.
And if something like that, just from the outside, man, if you ever talked to Dan, I couldn't stop laughing. Like, what? And if you knew him from the inside, he was funny.
But he was the guy they tagged with Nebraska because they were like, we got the Nebraska kids. We don't need a conversationalist in this state.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because I went to Nebraska as an O-lineman, and I'm sitting here going like, well, I went to Nebraska as an O-lineman. The O-line coaches recruited me. It was always Dan or Milt who I talked to, or Gillespie. And I get down to Nebraska, and I find out it's like, oh, wait. Like, all of these coaches have a region and they're recruiting for all the other positions. That does seem weird to me. If I was a position coach, I got to be honest, and I understand the whole idea of I need to worry about these 5 states or these 3 states or whatever. As a position coach, I would freaking hate that. Like I would just, I'm sitting there going like, well, I want to recruit this, but I'm recruiting for Bill and Jim and Dave. I'm not recruiting necessarily for me.
I've been in schools before. There's 2 or 3 of us in the same school. We're all just recruiting different guys from the same school. And we'd be there the same day. And we were all working like that, but I'm here to see so-and-so.
And I understand. And that makes sense to me.
And so that gets, but it's also not a 90-10 with me. I'm more in the 65-35 or 60-40. I'm trying to get the numbers very simple here in my head, so I can add. So it's not like I think the other side is crazy, because if you don't have a relationship with your position coach, you're coming in. So if I'm recruiting, like Alex Smith, I recruited Alex Smith. I did all the stuff with him, did everything. The home visit, when I took the head coach, Ron McBride from Utah, it was just Mac and me. There was that was with the quarterback. And so that's kind of crazy. And so you do want to have a relationship. So I get that part of it, but you still have to have some sort of, when you're talking to a head coach, my first verbiage was always to everyone, like we'd talk, they know I was there. I'd always ask everyone, who's the best, who's your best player no one's recruiting? So-and-so right here. He's an SEC player for some reason. He's getting traffic from MAC schools and stuff. And he's, okay, I'm going to follow up with him. I'm going to follow up with this guy. And I'd get back to if we were in position recruiting, I'd get back, hey, listen, there's a couple guys here. I'm here to see this, my safety, but this guy, we want to follow up on this. So that's kind of how you would do it. But because now it's just different, because you couldn't contact, let's just say anybody recruiting from American Samoa or whatever he's from, there was no texting even back then at that time. So you were the relationship. So for the head coach to get a hold of him, or the position coach, it was somewhat hard. And you would team up though and be like, hey, I'm bringing so-and-so with me into the house today. We're going to come in. The O-line coach is coming with me to make a big splash. This is a big deal for us to be able to do that. So it goes back and forth, but I enjoyed the old school way of having an area. It was a lot of fun.
Which, and the other thing I suppose that would make sense with that is the relationship development with those high school coaches.
Oh, yeah. And then you start talking to them like that, and everyone's like, here's what would happen the most. They'd be like, hey, Bill, have you talked to so-and-so over there? Because they're good enough and they were good coaches from that area. They would tell you, hey, I know this guy's really good. I want to go over there. I drove down to Coffeyville Junior College to try to flip a quarterback from Alabama to Nebraska. And I'm driving down to go see him, and I get there, and I'm at Coffeyville Junior College, and Dickie Rolls, who I haven't talked to Dickie for a few years. He's probably still there. He's been there forever, but Dickie had his own side business. He was a trucking company, all sorts, but Dickie ran Coffeyville. He always, they asked me to be the head coach 20 times. No, I'm not going to be the head coach. I'll just run Coffeyville from behind. And Dickie's one of the greatest souls I've ever met in my life. And I'd met him through other people. So I'm down there, and he looks at me and kind of goes, go to Butler. They got a quarterback there, Zach Taylor. Is he
pretty good quarterback.
He goes, he hits hands. He goes, he's accurate. He's tough. I'm telling you. Like that. This is from a guy at a school, and he's telling me, kind of off record, hey, go. So I got in my car immediately, did not try to do anything with the quarterback at Coffeyville, and drove directly to Butler Junior College. And that's how the process started with Zach Taylor.
That's amazing. I've never heard that story.
And that's how it happened.
How would you grade Matt Rhule after 3 years of recruiting Nebraska? Because there's a lot of kids that aren't going. I mean, Millward South, I think I counted 11 Division I players on that team. I don't know how many are going to Nebraska, but I don't think it's the majority. You got the quarterback, zero? I thought one
was. South was zero, I believe.
Zero.
That's crazy.
Zero going to Nebraska.
Yeah, so you had the kid from West Side today flip from Iowa State to Penn State.
And it was, there's
a relationship there. But what kind of grade would you give Matt Rhule and his staff of recruiting the state of Nebraska in his first 3 years?
Shoot, Rob would probably know it better, because to say that I've delved into everything with it, I can just go back to so I'm just going to talk historically in the Tom Osborne philosophy of local, because it means more in general, guys that won't leave because they want to be there. So that would be the big, not really push, but my research would be, how many of these guys did Nebraska want, and did they really want to be here? I don't know that, but that was the Coach Osborne's philosophy was, if it's close, this person will do more for us here than somebody from Tennessee or different places like that. It was just, you just couldn't get past it. And the number of times you would see this kind of because the numbers were tight back at that time. It was like, now technically you can have 105 on scholarship. So there's no initials. Back then you'd get nervous, like, I got 25 initials and this is going to eat up 2 spots. And there'd be a position coach. And all of a sudden they say, well, we're going to take so-and-so. And it's like, well, where's he going to play? Or is he going to go to your room? and you're like going as a position going, but I got better guys that I like from other places, and my job's on the line. So but then Coach Osborne be like, we're taking the Nebraska guy. That's what we're going to this everybody make it clear. So everyone also in the staff was on board with that. That's what we're going to do. That's how it's going to work out. And so how he's done, I can't say that I have watched high school enough film and see what's going on and talk to high school coaches to probably you guys would have a better feel for where that's at. But in the end, there's no way you would say the number's not a little shocking that it's one this year, when there's somewhere maybe around 20 Division I guys, right? If they had 11, there's probably somewhere in the number of 20 in the area. So that would add up a little bit.
Rob, what would you give them a grade as? C? D? B? It's not an A.
It's not an A. I mean, I would probably say C, it's a passing grade. And there's years you go back and you look at like, okay, so the class that I came in with out of Nebraska, I mean, you had, in terms of guys that became starters and like regular contributors, which, and this kind of almost goes back to your question earlier about like, hey, Nebraska volleyball season, was this a failure of a season? And I'm one of these.
And I know that's a hard word. It's probably a little, but
I'm one of these guys where if you understand how hard it is to perform at that level, it's hard to put the F word on it. Mm-hmm. And so I look at guys who come in and I'm like, wait, you got recruited to a major Division I university and maybe you weren't a full-time starter. Maybe you made the team, played a little bit here and there for 3 or 4 years. In my mind, I'm sitting there going, okay, that's pretty freaking good. If you played a college sport at all, again, that's got you in what? You're like in the top 1.5% of all people who played high school athletics. And so I look at like the class I came in with, that was a home run class for in-state recruiting because in terms of regular contributors and starters, you had myself and Terry Keneally and Zach Wiegert and Corey Schlesinger and Joel Wilkes. It's
pretty good class.
That was pretty good to have out of
and there's probably 6 or 7 in that class, which I can't name right now, that you name their names and you never heard of them.
Yeah.
Didn't do any, but that's the difference of a class.
And
it's like, hey, if you sign 25 and at the end, when out of that 25, 18 guys jog out on senior day, and then about 9 of them or 10 of them are pretty successful, you killed it.
Yeah.
You killed it. All the losses are the ones where you go, hey, listen, we had 3 draft picks, but the other 22 bust, bad ball. I mean, you got to the number of of your misses are the ones that get you the most, where you just whiff because now you can kind of replace them. Back then you couldn't. When you whiffed, it was going to take you 2 cycles to make up.
Yeah, that hurts
for that whiff. It was so bad on that. So with that being said, you go back and look at the misses, and that's where you'd see. You know what? Yep, don't know him, but boy, I tell you, and now what'd this guy do? You know what? He was the backup guard on both sides and played enough. There's times when he was in the game at crucial time. Is that a success? Huge success.
That's a huge
success.
That's a huge success in my book. And I mean, it'd be kind of like looking at a guy like, take Robert Gallery. So you got like Outland Lombardi winner at Iowa. Everybody's like, this guy's the greatest O-lineman ever. He did okay in the NFL. And I'm sitting here going like, that was a 10-year starter for the Raiders.
It's insane.
I was like, that's a freaking home run right there. I mean, I'd even look at a guy like, here's a good example. Remember Tony Mandarin?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's like, total bust. And I'm sitting here going, okay, kind of flopped a little in Green Bay, but then Don Magic Man, Majikowski, got him down to the Colts after a couple of years, and he ended up starting like 7 years at right tackle for the Colts.
Did he really? I did not know
I didn't know
that.
It was that long. I knew he'd played, so I'm with you.
Yeah, so it's like, you got a guy who was a multi-year starter in the NFL. Yeah.
You know how hard that is?
Not a bust.
Oh, not a bust.
So but I totally agree with you on what you're saying about that. It's just, I look at it, I'd like to see at this point in time, for a program like Nebraska that kind of bills itself as sort of a developmental program, the recruiting class doesn't have to be a home run hit on every kid where it's a 3-year starter.
Well, it won't be. The law of averages will tell you that it won't be.
And it's not, but that's what the portal's for, is to go find those. You go to the portal to find your occasional home runs, I think. You go to the high school kids to go find, okay, let's get, I'm looking at Millard South and I'm like, they're putting, I think 3 linemen into Division I schools. Like those kids never would have made it out of Nebraska when I was coming out of high school.
No,
they just wouldn't have. I mean, it's the way they did it. They're like, all right, if we can put these guys into our program.
And sometimes it might be creative of being like, we want him that bad. Okay, we're going to redshirt 1 year. Or pay your way 1 year. And then we're going to they'd find a way. If it's
the old gray shirt.
Hey, our numbers are really tight, so we're going to do something here. But
Joe Wilkes
mass
like that.
Kicks ass. Never let big bodies leave.
Yeah.
Other spots you can sometimes, if you can say, okay, it's like the NFL draft. Safeties go in the second and third round. They don't even go in the first round. That's because it's pass rusher, it's left tackles, it's this what it is. But big bodies are the bodies that you can't find. You're just like, you are looking. People always go, we got to get a couple 300-pounders on the D line in the portal. Good luck. I mean, because even at Georgia, if they have 8 good ones and he's available, they'll take him. Kirby Smart's like, I'll take 9. He's not going, we're good. We have plenty of big bodies. Nope, says nobody. And so those big bodies are worth so much. So that's where, if there was something that would be odd, would be that the big bodies aren't coming to Lincoln because they're so hard to find.
And I don't remember this happening a lot, but I could be wrong because my memory is not as good as especially yours, Coach, or you, Rob. But even go back to when you were playing and when you were at any one of your stops. You guys came in, you asked me about Logan Jones. Logan Jones won the Remington Award, the center for
Outland finalist.
Outland finalist. He's from Council Bluffs, went to Iowa, but he didn't start at Iowa as a center. He started as a defensive lineman.
Coming out of high school, that was his position, was D-line.
How many times does it happen? I'm sure every coach did, because everybody says Kirk Ferentz takes the 2 stars makes him 4 stars or what, and I hate the star thing.
Technically, Logan Jones, which I did look up, apparently Nebraska did in fact offer him. So,
but how many times do you get pigeonholed that you came in as this? And they don't move him around because they see something different. Kirk Ferentz is excellent at taking tight ends, making them tackles, or another position, make them tight ends. Here you take a defensive guy and make him the center. Do coaches go, well, you came here to be a quarterback, or you came here to be an offensive guard, that's where you're going to stay, and if you make it, you make it? I mean,
you're looking like crazy all the time. How do I upgrade my roster?
Okay.
And in general, and Rob will tell you that, they don't go the other way hardly at all, which means O linemen don't go to D linemen, but D linemen do go to O linemen. You don't see it very much going the other direction. It can happen. There's always a rarity to it that it could happen. But in general,
Jeff Ogard.
What's that?
Jeff Ogard came in, St. Paul, Nebraska kid, came in as an O lineman, went to defensive lineman, I think as a senior in, I think it was 96. All Big 12 nose guy.
And I'm sure that Charlie was like, just give me a big body that can eat up space. Barney Cotton is probably the only one. Well, maybe, because I don't know if Jeff started on offense, but Barney might be the only one that started on the D line and started on the O line. When he changed positions, he was actually a starter at both spots.
Well, I think Dan, this is going back to the 70s. I think Dan
Pensick did it? Could it be?
I think Pensick started on
both sides
both sides of the ball.
I think it's a mindset, and I think he's going to get so mad at me for bringing it up. Let's bring up Zach Potter here, okay? Zach was...
I just talked to Dave about this, I don't know.
From the time Zach left prep, Rob's like, he needs to be an offensive lineman. He'll have it, but he played rush in. What Zach didn't have, he'd get mad at me, and he'll probably call me after he listens to this. he wasn't a motherfucker, meaning he didn't want to rip somebody's head off. So
Zach is like the
nicest guy in the world.
The whole family's like,
super nice. I think to play defense, you've got to have a different level of I want to rip somebody's head off. That's why when he went to the NFL, he was a tight end, and hell, he played 3 years for Jacksonville.
I don't think that was it, because I got to be honest with you, as an good O lineman, want to kill someone.
Okay.
And people who want to play offensive line, they want to play offensive line because they're going, I want to kill somebody, but the person I want to kill, give me the biggest, strongest, fastest badass. That's the guy I want to kick the shit out of. D linemen go play D line, and they'll all tell you, because I want to hit somebody. And it's always, I want to tackle quarterbacks. I want to tackle running backs. Linemen are sitting there going, I want to kick the crap out of the 6'4", 300-pound D tackle. That's who I want to take on. So you've got to have that kind of mentality. And I think Zach had the ability to flip that switch. It just, when I watched him play, the innate talent set was uniquely suited to play the offensive side of the ball. His ability to bend, move his hips, get low. I'm sitting there going, guy's a natural blocker. Just absolute natural at blocking. And that's why I thought that. Now, I do agree. Nicest guy on the planet, nicest family on the planet. They really are.
My question was, Zach,
flip the switch.
Oh, absolutely. My question would have been if at the next level, did he have enough mass in his lowers? Because you have to be, when you look at, just watch O-line, D-line, especially O-line.
Well, and he switched to tight end. That's where they moved.
When you see what their legs and ass are like, it's like, because you have to have so much power low. That's the one thing. It's like immediately you can just see someone like that. Can that person develop into an O-lineman? They can, because of the lower body. That's the part that you're looking at, because that doesn't change much. I can get him stronger. I can do some things upper body wise, but all of a sudden you don't see a guy all of a sudden just walking around like that. He's always really, he's thin hipped and, not much lower body, but now he's huge. Like that, that doesn't happen very often. So
it really does.
That's a recruiting strategy when you see someone, what they can do. But what Rob said about that is that I talk about all the time is that the game still has to be extremely angry. And if you're trying to get someone to play, especially defensively, that is just a willing tackler, that usually will haunt you, because you have to have somebody that wants in. It's just like I can't take another late hit. I'm just tired of them, because they're straining so hard because they want in on contact. They want to be in the fight. And the ones that are just willing, which means I'll make it. I'm there. That's my play. What are the ones that all of a sudden you see? You'll just use, it when you see it. But the amount of anger you still have to play with in this game, and the amount of competitive spirit you have to play with. Anytime I was going against a running back that was angry, I was worried. When it's someone that ran angry, and you can name them, there's been numerous ones at Nebraska. You just go, that guy worries me more than somebody that might be able to hit a crease and take it the distance, because the one that's angry is the guy that's going to leave here at the 164 yards on 24 carries, and he's going to beat us up 6 yards at a shot, and it'll take our soul away from us.
Are we allowed to ask you any questions?
What's that?
Are we allowed to ask you anything?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this because we haven't got to the Michigan situation yet. In all years of coaching, did you ever work for somebody that had a scandal?
No, never.
You were probably close on the last one, but we'll ignore that.
Yeah.
But nothing major like what happened. I mean, I can't imagine. And we're finding out that was like the worst kept secret up in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, you hear now after the fact is like, well, everyone knew there was all kinds of things.
I didn't know.
Tim Brando had a tweet.
Yeah.
And I think this was kind of one of the ones that made a lot of news, was Brando's tweet, because they discussed the fact that when you talk to the media in Michigan, everybody was like, oh yeah, we knew about this back in September.
Well, I think that it's on record that there was 2 investigations prior to this.
I think more people are going to get fired.
That were cleared. I see now they've hired again an outside source to come in to once again do the entire athletic department. So they've had on campus for a couple years the NCAA. The FBI has been on campus a lot. They have had, and now they're bringing a firm in that's going to be walking around, as you're trying to get inside run drill ready to go for practice, for this bowl game practice. And like, excuse me, pardon me, like that. Yes, and your name, Charles, where are you from? Oh, I'm with law department, like that. Well, you guys are down here because the NCAA's got this area here, and then the FBI always just keeps a room in case they have to get called in for something, because they've all been on campus. I mean, they've all been there. The FBI came in and, with their offensive coordinator, 2 years ago, and, confiscated his computer, and things didn't go well. I will add with this, I've never had a deal, but I'm the biggest Biff Poggi fan that there is in the world. He's a great friend of mine.
Which
really?
I like
now, he's a multimillionaire too, right?
Yeah.
He runs a hedge fund or something like that?
Yeah. And I met him when he was involved in high school. And then we just stayed in touch forever. But he's one of the greatest humans. And you saw him play really well when he was the head coach. And he is unbelievable. And we were texting back and forth on Monday, just checking in with each other.
Is there anybody you don't know?
There's a lot that I do. But I'm talking to him. And then Wednesday, all hell breaks loose. And I text him. I go, man, you've had quite a day.
Did he not know that was coming?
He texts me back. He goes, yeah, Bill, I don't think they had any idea that it was, if you read the timeline, was that all of a sudden this young lady went on Wednesday morning to the administration with information. So I don't think there may have been stories or background noise, but I don't think. But now Biff was not going to tell me this on Monday. FYI, Bill, a lot of stuff going down here. Heads up, that wasn't happening. We were just talking about just fun stuff, back and forth. But yeah, I've never seen anything in my career. I've seen nothing like this. Nothing. Not at a school like Michigan. There's the Arkansas situation, which was remarkable, but Michigan's not the same as Arkansas. It's different how it's. They just won a national championship 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, it's Michigan; they'll have enough money to recover, but it may take a while, man. I mean, and then Sherrone Moore he ended his career. I mean, he's only 38 years old. He's done. He'll never coach again, ever.
Does Ward Manuel remain as the?
That's a good question.
Good question. It all comes. What did you know? How were you handling? Most likely, if he had, it might be a situation where he had everything documented and it had been reported. You don't know that. He may have let the Board of Regents and everybody know we have something going on here. And maybe, I don't know how that works, but you hope that if you're Ward Manuel, you hope that you can say, I've done my due diligence ahead of time. Or was it just like, did I completely miss this with all these things? Because all you hear now is, like Rob said, that's all you hear. Oh, everyone knew this was going on.
Yeah, I was watching SportsCenter one night, and the day after, and Scott Van Pelt was like, "Well, we've all heard the rumors." I'm like, "Oh, no,
we all have it because I'm with you. I wasn't ever reporting a month ago. Hey, just keep our eye on Michigan. I wasn't saying a word, but." They're saying, and I get it. If Ward Manuel said, "Hey, let's wait till after signing day to do this," but it's all null and void because all these kids can get out now. It doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter.
And that plays into it. I guess. I mean, and I also understand because I saw several prominent people in the media saying, well, we all heard about it. Nobody wants to say anything until there's documented evidence.
Well, I mean, let's use Scott as an example. How many rumors have been out about Scott?
There's a shit.
There's a ton, but nobody's ever backed him up with legitimacy. I mean, you were on a boat with him one time, but it's his right to go swimming. But I mean,
hanging out with the guys.
At the end of the day, there was never anything that was factual about Scott.
I defended him as hard as anyone could, just for one reason, because I was there on staff, not for a long time, and there was a coaching change, but I was around him, enough. And one thing I could say, I have zero knowledge of anything you're saying. People say, hear about this. And I'm like, I do not believe that. I know where he's around. I know when he comes to work. I know. And I said, there is nothing that I've ever seen, heard. And if you're in the building, you hear things, just like people heard things at Michigan. I didn't hear anything. Thus, there's nothing to back anything up of all these crazy stories. There might be, like you said, if someone went swimming and drank beer, I just don't think that's a fireable offense.
Well, I didn't think it was that. I didn't think it was a big deal.
It was a funny story. I mean, you can do that, right? I mean, remember when Frank got fired? The rumors about Frank came out. I think people just want to make stuff up when somebody gets fired, or if they're not winning, they need something to justify their feelings. Like, well, he was not doing the right things. I'm like, man, nothing. I mean, Scott's been gone, 4 years now. Nobody's ever come out and said there's been nothing to prove it. This is, I mean, the fact that he went and broke down a door and
then it went to because prior to this, there was no felony. So you have a chance to recover. your life. You have a chance to figure it out. You got years to figure. It happened at Arkansas, and it was blatant what happened. And 10 years later, they were pushing to make him the head coach at the same place again. So you can recover. Now, once you go to the next phase, though, of felonies, then everyone knows that there's no, someone calls you up and like, hey, can you help me out with this job? Yeah, I got a felony, but it's wrong place, wrong time. I'm like, no, there's no conversation about it. That conversation's over.
I mean, even Art Briles has landed a job. I mean, he's in the Division II ranks, but he's landed a job. So
yeah. So like I said, what I brought up on the show the other day that I was talking to, I said, here's the hard part. There's a lot of coaches in that building that were doing things the right way every day, working hard, recruiting, had nothing to do with any of this. And they're all going to get wiped out because they're going to clean house. It's going to be whatever it is. I mean, there might be someone stay here or there. There's going to be admins that were doing the right thing. There's going to be strength coaches that were doing the right thing, and they're all going to get wiped out. They don't have jobs anymore, and their next job will not be as good as Michigan.
Does your buddy want the head job?
I didn't talk to him about that. When I talked to him on Wednesday, I just said, "Hey, you're a great leader of men, and nobody better for this." I'm sure he would. I don't know if that's on the table. I have no idea. If Biff Poggi was here with us right now, you guys would be happy. He's a fun dude to talk to, incredible person, and you see the team gravitate to him, and he'll do a great job with what he's doing. But there's people that lost their livelihood that'll never recover because of what someone else can say. Well, that was me. Like, no, I was on your staff, and this all went down, and we got run out of the building. After the bowl game, we got asked to leave, and our stuff was all locked up, and we have to leave. And then it's like, try to find a job. Just go ahead and try it. Where are you at? Oh, I was at Michigan in the last couple of years like that. And then right away, it's like, that's not good. It's not a good deal. And they got kids and wives, and they were doing things the right way, and that stinks for them. That's part of the profession that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I was. I mean, then when you get the OnlyFans models and how he was slipping in the DMs. I mean, it's
I keep
crazy.
asking, like, is it true? It seems like it is, but I don't know now there's so many things that aren't true. But if some of these things are factual, then the story's like, I mean, it's not even it's a 3-hour 30 for 30.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you guys followed Outkick, Clay Travis's stuff, but Outkick had this OnlyFans model. I mean, according to her, he was texting her at halftime. He was texting her
so Clay Travis talked to her.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Expand on that.
Yeah. I mean, they were actually DMing back and forth, I think, on X. And he said that he goes, we were talking to her, and she's like, oh, he would text me during games. He texted her. He DM'd her during the Michigan game at halftime, or the Ohio State game. There were some games he was getting a hold of her during the. I'm like, how do you get on a phone during the game? Who doesn't see that? I thought that was illegal to be on the phone during a
halftime.
Game.
You'd have access. There was always a chance you could at halftime to have a phone, I guess. But during game, no. But I didn't realize it so that it is factual.
Yeah, according to Outkick,
I can't imagine that this lady would go on there and it's completely fabricated.
Although we're talking Outkick.
Yeah, but you know what?
Not exactly MSNBC.
Well, come on. I mean, at the end of the day, you know who the best at breaking news is? TMZ.
Well, that's probably true.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people will talk to these outlets.
I will give you.
So. Man, Coach,
we went way over.
No, we're an hour and a half. That's not bad for us. It's a little long for us, but
sorry about that.
No. This is why we love having you up, and you're the only.
We haven't even really hit. We haven't hit playoffs. We haven't hit.
So I said you can do it.
You could. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be
a 2 part.
Is your show in the morning 2 or 3 hours?
It's 3 hours now.
Man, that's a long time,
and it goes by really quick. Because this would be different. Like we went an hour and a half straight here, so you throw in the breaks and stuff in there. But the content is so much. I mean, think about like tomorrow morning, be on the show and they say, okay, we have a huge Husker win. We had a huge volleyball loss. Women's basketball is going. What's going on? You have bowl games. Oh, the head coach from the other team just retired. Oh, we have playoffs still. There's that. We have a Heisman Trophy winner to talk.
Were you surprised Emmett Johnson wasn't in the top 10 of voting? I was.
Probably he's top 10 if Nebraska's 10-2. I think sometimes
I get it.
Without the wins.
Yep.
He's got to be in the discussion early, and he was not in the discussion.
That's fair.
Early.
Yeah.
I mean, Mendoza was the clear winner.
Yeah. And I mean, in Mendoza, I think people were like, ooh, well, yeah, this guy can play ball. That was early in the year. That Oregon win happened, and all of a sudden it was like, all right, it's in Indiana's in the driver's seat now.
Now, you make sure to tell Sipple in the morning. He's had a standing invitation to come up here.
Steve Sipple.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
this will be addressed tomorrow.
2 years ago, we had it all lined up, and he canceled on us. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I got to do this. He's never committed.
I will readdress
never committed.
That. I'm very lucky because our show, like I said, it was going so great before I was part of it. So I'm kind of like the Belichick trying to win the 5th and 6th Super Bowl. They've already won 4. They've had great success, and Sipple's awesome to me. And Jake's. So we have Sipple, who's media, and for a long time. So he has great insight for us. And we have Jake, who's super fan. And I'm not talking super fan. I'm talking freak out super fan, meltdown, you name it. It's on, and on both directions like that. And then I try to be somewhere in the coaching world with it.
See, I want to get Sipple on here because I was with him in Phoenix when Y2K hit, because Nebraska was playing in the 99 Fiesta Bowl, and Sipple was all freaked out. Yeah. So he went out in the middle of the desert because he thought the world was coming to an end. Yeah,
that'd be a great story to talk about. Sip carries me, and him and Jake both. They carry me. I'm the loose wheel there. They help me out.
Now, if you are watching this podcast and you run a company or have influence at a company and you have guest speakers at your company, I can vouch for Coach Bill Busch because he actually came to MCL Construction, spoke at our all-company meeting 2 years ago now, I think it is, and you won't be disappointed. You give a fabulous talk, worth every penny. And matter of fact, my kind of a family relation just hired you not too long ago.
And it went great.
Yeah.
We had an awesome time, and I appreciate that very much. It's been kind of word of mouth, but kind of went from doing one to, I don't know, like a couple hundred now or something. So it's been quite a few. But it all started off with never would have happened if Travis doesn't reach out.
That's bullshit.
That's true.
That's bullshit.
Well, you hired me back when, what had I done at that time? 2 or 3?
Yeah, you weren't doing very many.
No, I wasn't doing very many because I hadn't been hired. It wasn't like I was keeping things at bay, Rob.
Well,
he hired me when. So what's a cool thing is when someone takes a huge chance on me, and that's what Travis did. He took it, and also it wasn't just a huge deal. It was MCL Construction. It is a major player. There was 200 some people there. I was like, okay, this one's real. And I literally, it was like my third one I'd ever done. Now, I went up and spent a day with me.
Because you're boring.
Damn. Which I got to be honest with you, I suck at that stuff. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not boring. You're actually very entertaining. But, I'll never forget. I'm at your dad's funeral, right? And your brother's speaking. Like,
oh God, this is hilarious.
So we're
and again, we're talking funeral.
We're talking funeral. And his older brother gets up there and goes, "We would have had Rob talk, but this would have taken 3 hours." This is the funeral. Yeah. And my wife and I look at each other. Yep. That's exactly
There's
what
certain
happened.
times you kind of go, yep, that was.
But I got a call from a speakers bureau the other day. Wanted to know if I was interested in it. And I am, but I said, I've got somebody for you. So I've recommended you to a speakers bureau. And they only take 20%. They don't take 30%. So that's, So we'll talk about that after that.
That's very kind of you. But it was a great time. I will say this. I had one last. Travis, so I'm nervous now because I've only done like 2 or 3. There's 200 some people there. The setup is incredible. It's like MCL is like Star Wars. It's so well run and set together. So Travis is killing it there. But he comes over to me and I'm in the back. So I'm listening to everybody speak. He goes, "Hey, Bill, do you mind if we have someone get up and just talk for 10 minutes right prior to you?" I'm like, "I'm on your time. You hired me. Whatever you say." So someone gets up and gives a testimony. Rob, it was the most incredible testimony.
It was Feroz.
There was people getting lifted up around the room. There were people crying there, and I'm up next. And there's people just going nuts. And it was like, I'm sitting there, I'm listening to this story, and I'm like going, how do I follow this? Yet I'm so when I got done, I hugged the guy. I was like, and he spoke for about 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah, that was Feroz, who he runs our IT department, and he was the press secretary for Hamid Karzai in Afghanistan. Oh, his story. I mean, when he was young,
what happened to him at that school?
He went to the bathroom and he came back. Everybody was dead. They were hanging from the ceiling. It's an incredible story.
And that's what I speak after. Travis goes, do you mind? Some guys, and I thought he's going to get up there and talk about like some sort of construction law, make sure we wear our helmets, make sure, hey, wear your steel-toed shoes. It's serious, guys. And then I'm going to follow up with them and try to knock it out of the park. And it's like following Nate Bargatze is like, what's happening?
Yeah, here? But you knocked it out of the park.
Sorry for the length of this.
No, this is good. This is good. You're welcome here anytime. We've only had 2 people that have come back like multiple times. You and Joe Moglia. So that's big company. That's big company.
I would think Joe's a little ahead of me.
Well, and Joe texted me the other day. He goes, "Hey, when I'm back in town, can I come on?" Joe, you have an open invitation to come to the studio anytime. So. And you always have an open invitation.
I love coming down here. It's like I said, Travis is so nice. He's like, I can't believe you drove down here. I'm like, why would I? The setup is great, and the friendship is even better. So thank you.
Here, Coach Bill Busch on the ticket in Lincoln. What's the
93.7?
93.7.
The ticket, 6 to 9 a.m.
6 to 9.
Every day, 6 to 9. You can do a podcast too, and all that stuff. So,
Dr. Rob, always good to see you. Owen, thank you. He just spent 9 days with me in Italy. He's sick of me, so.
He's probably like, why did this go for an hour and 45? This is supposed to be an hour podcast. I'm supposed to be at home.
Hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, and we'll see you next time on the Husker Doc Talk Podcast.